So I was getting ready for bed, and I don't know if you can read it there, but I'm watching the Hat Man iceberg, and it just kind of got me thinking about like all the times that I've experienced either supernatural things or at the very least things that I could not explain. Now let me go ahead and say, I do believe in ghosts. That being said, anytime that I see something or something, whether it's on video or I'm personally experiencing something, I have a high amount of skepticism. Even though I say I'm a believer, like I'm a Christian and I believe in all that stuff, and that's why I have a high amount of skepticism, because it's not super common. Well, it actually is pretty common, but it's not super common, if that makes sense. If you're somebody that's kind of in the realm or community of this stuff, I think you kind of understand what I mean by that. It's not something you're gonna bump into just like everywhere you go, like if you're shopping at the mall during the middle of the day, you know, whatever like that. But it is stuff that you can bump into almost anywhere that you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and share a couple of my personal experiences. I'm not gonna say where the first one is. It was at my high school. It's still an open high school. That's why I don't want to say where it is, because I don't want people being weirdos and going and bothering kids and teachers just to try to go see some ghosts or something. So please, if you know me, don't put it in the comments. If you somehow figure it out, please do not go bother the school or anything like that. That's really all I gotta say about that. Please don't. That would be, that's not cool. It's illegal, trespassing, possibly even breaking and entering. So don't do that, please. I know ghost hunting's cool and all, but it ain't worth it. So in that school though, there was actually 2 ghost experiences that I had. And by that I mean like 2 different ghosts. In the same place though, basically. So I was part of Tech Theater, which is like the class that builds the sets for the theater club class or whatever. So I was a stagehand, all that stuff. Yes, I was basically in the drama club. Theater kid. Kind of, but not really. I'm gonna tell you though, we were some scary theater kids. For fun, we used to punch each other in the nuts as a game. Like that's just all it was. Who could do it the most, the hardest, and the fastest, and the sneakiest. Anyway, so in the auditorium of the school, and I didn't even believe this at first. At first, I thought it was straight up like people pranking us. There was a ghost that we called Bob. I don't know why we named him Bob. I guess like supposedly somebody died. We never like knew the guy's name or something like that. And then, or I don't know, it just was a ghost that was there that just started messing with stuff. And Bob would typically only mess with lights. That's really all that he did. So for example, in the auditorium of the school, this was the most common thing that he would do to like say hi, or you know, and literally sometimes he would literally say hi. Like he'd be like, "Hi Bob," and then a light would start flickering and flashing. So the way that our auditorium worked was the wall had like lights, like a movie theater basically. You know, I'm sure you all know what like a movie theater and an auditorium look like. I don't need to explain that. So I'll explain. What I do need to explain though is all of the lights on the wall work from one switch. They're all connected. So if you want to turn one light off, you have to turn the whole row of lights off. There's no way to turn off one light. And this is why I believed this. Bob would only mess with one light at a time. That's it. Sometimes he would do other stuff, like he would mess with like different electrical stuff. That was really it. So that's why there was this story that like there was an electrician that died, supposedly, because he would only mess with the lights. But Bob was a friendly ghost. He was really cool. It was kind of funny, actually. It would literally happen during school, and then sometimes me and my friends would actually stay after school, and we would turn all the lights off in the auditorium, and we would just sit and wait to see if Bob would come around to like turn a light on. And it was really cool and interesting. Now the second ghost that I encountered was also in the auditorium of the school, which was not as well of a known ghost apparently. Only like a few people knew about her, and I guess it was like kind of known amongst the people that basically snuck it around after school to like hang out in the auditorium. Yeah, I did that basically. I went to the school at the time though, so like don't even. There's a Nickelback song where they talk about doing that. So yeah, anyway, we were basically chilling in the school one day after school, doing the same thing, sitting in the dark, looking for Bob. It was me and 2 other friends. I'm not gonna say their names, but yeah. So we're sitting in the auditorium. We're on the right wall, basically. So like the stage is to our right. There's also an exit door directly to our left, like an emergency exit door, which became very important. So we're sitting there, we're waiting for Bob. Bob's kind of doing his thing. We're oohing and on, and then Bob stops. And we sat there for like another 5 to 10 minutes, and we were gonna start packing it up, and then all of a sudden, one of the main road lights came on. I started to tell the story poorly, so I had to like cut and edit myself back here, so I don't know where I'm cutting this in, but I'm sorry. So what had happened was, me and my two friends are basically sitting on this right side of the auditorium. So like you can see the stage to our right. There's an emergency exit right next to us to our left, which becomes important in a second here. And then if you look like up to our left, you can go like up some stairs, and then there's a wall, you know, the entry exit. There's a middle little area where you have your booth to operate stuff, and then there's another side with another doorway. There's also like 3 lanes of stairs that go one, you know, basically on each side, and then one in the middle. And then you've got the main stage in the front. And then also in the middle of the auditorium, there's like a cross section basically where it's just like open walkway. Another important thing to remember here, all the lights on the ceiling also operate, for the most part, except for the lights that are like spotlights for the stage, operate the same way that the sidewall lights do. They're all on a strips. So if one light has to come on, the whole row it's got to come on. So wrapping back to the story. So Bob was messing with some of the lights, and we had been watching him, and then he stopped, which he normally does, and then all of a sudden when the ceiling light turns on. This was not something that Bob ever did. He never messed with the ceiling lights. That's one thing that I specifically remember. If he messed with the light, it was only the ones on the walls. Now this was scary because it was a light that was like right in front of the booth in the center aisle, or for the center stairwell. One light came on, and then another light came on a little bit down the stairs, basically lighting up the stairs, and another light came on until basically, I think it was probably just like 3 lights, and then it hit, once it got to the middle, then like the whole row for the middle turned on, and then another singular light in the center stairs, another singular light, until it got to the stage. Now this is where my adrenaline started to kick in, so my memory gets a little bit fuzzy. I don't remember if the lights stayed on or if they turned off. But what I do remember is that all of a sudden we heard someone sprinting across the catwalk above us. Something that I didn't explain before as well that's very important. To get to the catwalk, you have to go up 2 different sets of ladders that are very tall ladders, mind you. There's also a short platform between the first ladder and the second ladder, so there's a short little walkway there as well. And then even from there was like a back room, and then like a short hallway, and then you would be on the stage. This scared the fuck out of us because the moment the sprinting was done on the walkway, someone was sprinting on the stage, and they were throwing the curtains like out of their way, and they were clearly coming toward the front of the stage. Me and one of my friends immediately me and one of my friends immediately got up and started heading to the exit, like hauling ass. The other one was kind of with us, but then he stopped for a second and was like, wait a minute, let's see. And me and the other guy just grabbed him and we were like, fuck that, let's go. So we had already swung the exit door open, and then he was kind of like looking back, and I don't remember if it just I grabbed him or both of us grabbed him, but I remember I grabbed him fucking by the shirt and we just yanked him through the fucking doorway and threw him on the ground and slammed the exit door shut. And then we sat there in silence for about like a minute, and then it was really awkward, and we kind of had like an awkward talk about it, and then we didn't really talk much about it ever again. We didn't really tell the whole. We told some people, but then like, yeah, we just like didn't really talk about it again after that. It scared the fuck out of us. And so, like I said before, a few people knew about the second one, and we had kind of heard about her. And people, for whatever reason, I guess everybody's had a bad experience with her. They called her the redheaded bitch. I don't know how she got that name. I guess somebody saw her at some point, but yeah, I didn't want to see her. We were out of there. Now coming back around to the thing that made me think of making this video, I think I said that right, I have also seen the Hat Man. And that was actually the least scary one, and I'll explain why here in a second. So a lot of people, like this video is talking about right now, a lot of people see the Hat Man during like sleep paralysis or like that, something like that. I don't have sleep paralysis. I do have an eating disorder and health conditions though that sometimes affect me poorly. It makes it a lot harder for me to take care of myself. Let me put it that way. I don't feel like explaining it all on camera, but yeah, at least not for YouTube right now. So a few years ago now, I basically started having some health issues. It was slowly oncoming, and like I wasn't paying attention to like all the symptoms that I was getting, and I was just like working and like doing stuff and like whatever basically. And then I started like seeing things. And at first I wasn't sure if I was like actually, I thought, you know, I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm just not eating right. Like it's just something weird. I'm not doing something right, and that's why I'm just like, it's just something weird. Like it's gotta be lack of sleep. I'm just, you know, it's something out of the corner of my eye. It's just like something in my eye, you know, whatever. And then there was one night where I was driving home, and I could swear it looked like there was this, like, it wasn't the Shadow Man, but it looked like some kind of dark figure running behind my car, like I was driving in a neighborhood, mind you, so I wasn't going super fast, but I was going like somewhere between 20 to 30 miles per hour. I can run pretty fast, and I can run up to like 6 on like average if I'm like really trying, but I can also get up to like 8 or 9 miles per hour maybe on like a good day right now. But to have somebody being able to keep up with me, like it looked like it was nothing at like 20 to 30 miles per hour, it was shocking. And it was also 11:30 at night, and I only saw it I saw it in my like side view mirror for like a split second. Like I was driving, and like I saw it in my mirror, and I looked over, and for a split second as I looked at it, I could swear I was looking at it, and it was gone. And that's why like at first I was just like, I just need sleep. It's late, I'm working late, I'm up late, like that's gotta be what it is. A couple nights go by, a couple days go by or something like that, and you know, nothing else really happened after that, not that I remember, at least not that like really stands out in my memory. But then one night I wake up in like the middle of the night, and I don't just like kind of stir out of bed, I like immediately I'm awake. Not like in a sense of panic, just immediately like fully awake. Now I was in a different house at the time, but I had basically a similar setup to this where like cat tower right next to the bed. So I'm laying here in bed, and I immediately just open my eyes, and Hat Man is standing directly in front of me, in front of the cat tower. I have enough time to look up and look at him looking back at me. I see he's basically just a shadow. I can, for some reason, even though he's just a shadow, I can tell that he's wearing a suit, he's nicely dressed, and that he's got a very nice cap on. I can see the silhouette of the hat. That's why it's such an identifiable like feature that everybody points out. I don't remember if I actually said this or not, so I might just be adding this in. So after I like looked up at him, I will say I wasn't having any kind of sleep paralysis either. I was able to like look up, I was fully awake, and the moment pretty much that I looked him in the face and I was able to register like what I was looking at, he was gone. Literally just vanished like in front of me. And there was no like, you know, it's not like in the movies where it's like there's a portal. It was literally just he was there and he wasn't. And then I immediately got up. That's when I kind of got a little shocked because I was just like, what was that? And I immediately had to check on my cat too, because I couldn't remember correctly. I still kind of can't, but I thought maybe one of his arms was like on the cat tower for a split second. But either way, I had to like check on my cat, make sure like he didn't touch him at all or nothing like that, because I was like, but then once I saw that everything was fine, I got up and I like looked around and all that, and I was like, what in the hell just happened? I kind of just like I said, I wasn't like in terror or anything like that, but I did have a little bit of shock, because I was just like, I actually just saw that. I like definitely like, I'm not seeing things, like that was real. I'm not asleep right now. It's not like sleep paralysis or anything like that. I was immediately able to basically knock out all of my in fact, there wasn't like skepticism. If anything, I was trying to be in denial, and I was trying to be like, that had to be my imagination. Had to be my imagination till I like it came to the conclusion, no, I really saw that. I definitely saw that. And then like Romeo didn't really react. He was awake, and like I don't know if he saw it or anything like that. He wasn't freaking out, but like, you know, he was cool. He was fine. Then I was awake for another like 30 minutes, and then like I went back to sleep pretty much. Not like, almost like, you know, it wasn't like a super big deal. Just like nothing happened. That being said though, part of that reaction also could be because I have actually had a fair amount of ghost experiences and all that stuff, and you know, I've kind of been desensitized in a way, like having that like high school experiences and like all that stuff, and then the things that I also experienced like after and outside and all that stuff, like I'm not completely like desensitized to it, but it's not like I'm not the kind of person that's gonna, you know, if a door was to just open itself, I'm not gonna be like, you know, oh, I gotta leave. Oh. No, it's like, oh, that's kind of neat. Do it again. I was not filled with a sense of dread though. I was not like immediately filled with like a sense of terror or fear, like impending death, like he was going to kill me. There was no sense of harm coming from him, but there was this just foreboding feeling. I was not afraid of him. That's like, it's the weirdest, most difficult thing to kind of explain. I was not, my brain, it's like my brain and my soul immediately knew, I'm not scared of this guy. He's not gonna hurt me, but his presence is not a good sign. And that got me kind of looking into it, because obviously after seeing him, you're like, what the fuck was that? And I came across this thing where somebody was talking about he can be a sign of like something really bad coming, or about to happen or whatever. Like possibly like somebody's about to die that you know. Lo and behold, about a day or two after that, I was like constantly puking. I could not hold anything down for literally like almost 48 hours. I was just almost constantly throwing up. I couldn't keep anything down. I was like trying my best to like take care of myself, but I just was getting worse and worse. It got to the point where like I'm staying with my folks right now to get back on my feet, and I didn't tell them what I was going through, and they basically discovered what I was going through because I had filled like half a cardboard box with vomit and like an entire trash can and like a bunch of others. I filled up basically like everything that I could with vomit. I know that's super fucking gross. I'm not like Asmon though. I'm not that bad. So please don't think that it was like this. I was dying, okay? I was dying, and I was trying to hide that I was dying basically. And so basically I ended up having to like call for help, and I'm just like naked in the fetal position, just like, I think I need to go to the hospital. And my dad immediately took it seriously too, because like I hate people seeing me like naked. I don't even like to be seen like usually like shirtless and just like in my shorts. I try to be like, you know, as decent as possible typically. I know it's kind of weird after I made a post not that long ago where I was like just in my underwear, but so yeah, when he saw me like that, he was immediately like, oh yeah, you gotta go to the hospital. You must be messed up. And then he also saw all the things just filled with, and everywhere, it was everywhere. It was everywhere. So then like finally on the way to the hospital, like that's when my body just started to like give out, and I just started like going unconscious, and I was unconscious for about like 3 days in the hospital. Like for the most part of 3 days really. And there was just like brief moments where like they got me to like come to, but I was completely like, I don't remember any of it. I was unintelligible at best, if you know, whatever, from my knowledge. And yeah, and basically long story short, just all of a sudden a bunch of my organs and all this stuff just failed me. Just out of nowhere, all my stuff just started failing. all of my liquids and everything was just like incredibly low. I was dehydrated, obviously from like throwing up a ton. So I was like on death's door. And that's actually going back to, that's kind of one of the things that like the Hat Man basically is like there to warn you about, because I wasn't taking care of myself and I was about on death's door. He came to warn me. I know I'm probably not gonna title this video like who the Hat Man really is, but I will kind of give my 2 cents on who I think the Hat Man is. I think the Hat Man is actually Death, like the accountant, Death incarnate, Mr. Death, the guy, the Grim Reaper, whatever you want to name him. I think that's actually who the Hat Man is. He fits in a lot of ways, some of the descriptions that people sometimes have given over time, and I mean it's pretty hard to get a description of what Death would look like, because you know you can ask dead people. This ain't Dungeons and Dragons. We don't got that spell where you can talk to the dead. So just thought I'd share that with you guys, see if you guys are interested in that. I do have a few more ghost stories if you guys are interested in hearing more of those. If this video does really well and you guys like, if this video somehow gets like 50 likes and like a ton of views, I'm not gonna say like how many, but if YouTube doesn't cap this video and I get more than like 2,000 views on this video, then I'll make another one and I'll talk more about my ghost experiences. I'll say that. We'll put that there. But if you made it to the end of this video, I really appreciate you watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. I'm like about halfway to getting monetized. I'm very excited about that. Thank you all for the support that you've given me thus far. I really would appreciate any and all support. You guys have been great. I love it. Thank you all so much. Thank you all. If you came here from Instagram and you came from me being viral over there, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate all you guys. That was really fun making all those memes and doing all that stuff. I think I already ran that into the ground, doing it over and over again, so I'll stop doing those. Let me know any ghost experiences that you've had down in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. Other than that, have a good night, guys. Bye.